Hello, I'm Marletha, and on behalf of my research partner Armando, welcome to Snowden Chronicles. On this channel, we aren't just looking at names and dates on a page. We're digging deep into our own family roots, breathing life into our ancestors, and piecing together the puzzle of who we are. But we're also showing you how to do it, from decoding centuries-old court records and brick wall census data to capturing the priceless oral histories of our elders before they're lost. We're breaking down the exact investigative tools and strategies you need to uncover your own history. Because history isn't just something found in textbooks, it's in your bloodline. Subscribe to Snowden Chronicles, grab your magnifying glasses, and let's start hunting for the past together. Who was Curl Snowden Sr.? If you look at the official history books, you won't find his name. But if you look into the archives, you find a man who lived through America's most turbulent eras: slavery, the Civil War, and Reconstruction. Today, we are starting a journey to piece together his incredible life. This video is just a high-level overview. In future videos, we're going to deep dive into the fascinating social and cultural aspects of his world. But today, we are starting with the puzzle pieces we do have and the massive mysteries that still remain. Let's travel back to the beginning, his birth, around January of 1830. Family lore is a powerful thing. According to stories passed down through generations, Curl told people he was born in Mathews County, Virginia. But here's the catch. Armando and I have not been able to find a single piece of paper to document this. In fact, the trail goes cold. I've even reached out to a college friend who is a native of Mathews County. When I asked him about the Snowden name, nothing. He had never heard of any Snowdens from that area. So why Mathews County? Was he born there and moved? Was he hiding something? Or did the record simply burn? We do have one clue that links him back to that soil, but it doesn't show up until the very end of his life. Let's fast forward to June 1st, 1915. Curl Snowden Sr. passed away in Princess Anne County, Virginia on June 1st, 1915. His death certificate is a genealogist's nightmare because of what it doesn't say. There are no parent names listed, just blank spaces. But there is one fascinating piece of information. It states his mother was from Mathews County, Virginia. So the family stories potentially had a grain of truth. But the document gets weirder. The informant on the certificate was his second wife, Sarah. Now, Sarah was significantly younger than Curl, somewhere between 29 to 39 years younger. It doesn't appear she ever asked him much about his youth, because when asked how old he was, Sarah added a whole decade to his life. She stated he was 104 years old. Based on other records, he was actually closer to 85. She reported he died of natural causes. The certificate shows no physician was present and there was no mention of prior health issues. This tells us Curl likely passed away at home suddenly and unexpectedly, leaving Sarah to guess at the details of his past. So if he died in 1915, how far back can we actually trace him? The absolute earliest documentation we have found for Curl Snowden is dated August 28, 1866. This is a pivotal time period in American history. The Civil War had just ended, and newly freed African Americans were finally able to do something they had been denied for generations: legally recognize their families. On this day, Curl had his marriage to his first wife, Mary, formally recognized by the state. The document uses specific, heavy language. It states, "Record of the certificates issued to colored people, one or both of whom have been slaves, and came before me and acknowledged that they had lived together as husband and wife." Let me stress that last part. The couple had been living together as husband and wife. Let's pause and look at why that phrasing matters. Before the Civil War, enslaved people were legally considered property. Because they were viewed as property, marriages between enslaved individuals and with an enslaved person was not recognized as legally binding. So even if one partner was free and the other was enslaved, the law did not recognize that marriage. But Curl and Mary told the official a beautiful truth. They had already been married for 12 years. That means their bond began around 1854, deep in the era of slavery. On this document, his name was spelled Curry, C-U-R-R-Y, Snowden, and we learn her full name, Mary Elizabeth Snowden, formerly a Mary Elizabeth Barrett. Because we cannot find a single piece of paper on Curl before this 1866 marriage record, the evidence heavily points to the fact that he was indeed an enslaved man who gained his freedom after the war. 4 years later, we catch up with him again. The 1870 census finds the family living in Wildwood, Craven County, North Carolina. By this time, Curl and Mary have 2 children with them, James, who is 14, and little Jane, who is 6 months old. Life during Reconstruction was hard, and building a new life from scratch was monumental. Was Curl able to buy land? The census leaves us guessing. The real estate column on the form is completely blank, meaning he likely rented or sharecropped his land. However, the personal estate column tells a completely different story. It lists a specific dollar value for his personal property, $250. Now let's put that into perspective. In 1870, right after the devastation of the Civil War, $250 was a significant sum for a newly emancipated family. In today's money, that is the equivalent to roughly $6,000 worth of assets. Things like livestock, farming tools, and household goods. Think about that. For a man who may have been legally considered property himself just 5 years prior, accumulating the equivalent of thousands of dollars in personal property was a massive milestone. It proves that despite the overwhelming systematic odds against newly freed families, Curl was successfully building a financial foundation, establishing true independence for his wife and children. From a man that appears did not have a legal identity before 1866 to a family man with a home and a future by 1870, Curl Snowden's life is a testament to survival. However, we have so much more to uncover. How did he get from Virginia to North Carolina? What was life like for his children? And what can the social dynamics of Princess Anne County tell us about his final days? In our upcoming videos, we're going to dive into the deep social aspects of Curl's life and the world he built. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join me as we continue to bring the story of Curl Snowden Sr. out of the shadows of history. God bless, and see you in the next video.